Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. I know I did. Let's get started. We're going to start with the first Thanksgiving game and my one phrase sentence summary for NFL games from this past weekend. We got the Texans versus Lions, and my phrase for that is Dr. Watson gets two people fired. Deshaun Watson had his best game of the season, and now the Lions have finally cut ties with Matt Patricia and their GM. Um, it'll be interesting to see where they go from here as far as um, coaching search goes. I mean, do they maybe go after Harbaugh, who's already coaching at Michigan and who's probably going to be out the door there? And he's a seasoned NFL veteran. He can come in and potentially do something because his record in NFL is pretty good. So, I mean, maybe that's the answer there. We'll see. Um, Next one is Washington versus Cowboys. It's a fake. We kind of written off the Cowboys, and after that surprising win against Minnesota last week, a lot of Cowboys fans thought, "Oh, we're back. We're going to win a division." And I remember I said I wanted to see this game first before I came to that conclusion, and sure enough, my thoughts came true. Um, this ended up being like the ugly girl that wore a eye mask or something at a party. So therefore, just based off talking, like, oh, she's cool, or but then when she takes the mask off, you're like, never mind, I'm good. So that's what this game just felt like. The cool chick at the party, the mask on, but as soon as she takes off and reveals her true identity, no one wants. That's what it felt like. And that's what's the Raiders versus Falcons. Raiders folded. I know the Raiders playing Pacific time, a new game on the East Coast. I know that's historically been bad for West teams. Um, but man, getting blown out like that is by the Falcons. That's not good. That's horrible. Um, it's safe to say while this team is interesting and stuff, they can easily be a wildcard team. But we now realize they are not a Super Bowl contender. Let's just put that out there. Chargers versus Bills. Allen wins this matchup for now. Now it doesn't surprise me that Josh Allen won this matchup. It's at Buffalo. Chargers are struggling right now, stuff. But don't be surprised in the future if Justin Herbert potentially becomes a better quarterback and potentially wins more of these matchups, especially if it's in LA. Don't be surprised if that happens in the future. Giants versus Bengals. First in the division. Despite Daniel Jones getting injured, McCoy and the Giants survived and are now in first place of the lousy NFC East. Even if Jones was out for the rest of the season, in my opinion, I feel like the Giants can still win this division. So we'll see what happens. Titans versus Colts. The King and his soldiers. It wasn't just Derrick Henry having a game. It was A.J. Brown having a good game, Ryan Tannehill having a good game, and defense doing its part. So good all game for the team. And now the series is splits, and now the Titans control their own destiny. Panthers versus Vikings. Just do the Hail Mary. 3 times this season, instead of doing the long pass with a Hail Mary, they go for a 55 plus or 60 plus yard field goal. They're 0-3 from that this season. In the future, especially that this season's already lost for Carolina, just go for the Hail Mary. You have nothing to lose, and who knows, you might actually win a game. Cardinals versus Patriots. Kickers matter. Now, you remember the kick that Arizona missed in the first Seattle game, and then luckily they were able to get the ball back and then kick it again for the win. Well, this time they weren't so lucky as they kicked it and missed it, and ended up them costing the game. So it just shows you the kicker matters because for the Patriots, Nick Folk has had multiple game-winning field goal kickers, and because of that, their record has improved to where I thought it was going to be. So it just shows that kickers matter. Just ask Chicago and Tennessee for the past few years how many games they lost because they didn't have a good kicker. And it's important. Besides improving that offensive line, like I would get them a new kicker next season if I were the Cardinals. Dolphins versus Jets. Next, Patricia just got fired, so this should be Adam Gase's turn. I'm not sure what you're waiting for. I mean, they might be waiting just to see if Gase can go the full 0-16, but there's nothing to wait for now. He needs to be the next one. Browns versus Jaguars. No losing record. Browns will not have a losing record this season. It's official. They'll be at the very least 8-8. So that's 2020 for you, where teams like The 49ers, after going Super Bowl last year, are not going to make the playoffs, and teams like the Browns are. Interesting world. Saints versus Broncos. Wrong message. I understand if a QB or a group of QB has COVID and they are deemed high risk, so you can't play them. But just postpone the game or do something else next time, because that game was ridiculous to watch. And I know the message they were trying to send, but the problem is it's a wrong message, because with that game, no one's going to want to watch that because it's going to be an automatic blowout and uninteresting game. So, which just means you're going to lose viewers there. So that wasn't a smart move by the NFL, in my opinion. 49ers versus Rams. McVay's kryptonite. In the past 2 seasons, Kyle Shanahan has beat McVay 4-0. 4-0. The past 2 times were without some key players. So when you developed a potential kryptonite from an opposing team or coach or quarterback, now McVay needs to figure out how to combat that, because if not, then he's going to get ruled by Kyle Shanahan for a long time. Chiefs versus Bucks. The Cheetah wins the race. Tyreek Hill had an outstanding game, and his speed and quickness was no match for the Tampa Bay defense. I'll give the Bucks credit for fighting back in the game and only getting within a field goal, but the deficit was just too much to overcome. Now, on the bright side, you're Tampa Bay Bucks. It's going to be easy. You have Atlanta twice. You have Carolina. You have someone else again. I think it was the Jets or something like. You have a bunch of easy teams and all favorable games for the rest of the season now. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's smooth sailing from here to the playoffs. Bears versus Packers. Pack on track. The Packers looked ready to go and they played well, albeit against a team that's struggling. 5 losses in a row, and again against a team that can't run the ball, which is Green Bay's kryptonite, if you will. But it's a divisional rival, and they took care of business, so good for them. Maybe they can rack up some more wins now. So those are my phrase sentences for the week. But now to go over my updated NFL predictions. So I now have Kansas City as a 1 seed in the AFC, because I don't feel like they're going to lose another game. In Pittsburgh, I still have them losing 1 game, whether that's to Buffalo or the Colts or something. Most probably be Buffalo. And then 2 seed Pittsburgh, and then 3 seed I still have Tennessee at 12-4. 4th seed I still have Buffalo at 12-4. Like what I've seen from both of them. 5. It's going to be Baltimore at 11-5. I know things are looking bad right now, but their schedule is very favorable, so I feel, despite the COVID issues, despite Lamar not playing well, I feel like they're not going to lose a lot of games the rest of the season. 6, I got Las Vegas at 10-6. If they keep on losing the teams that they should beat, like the Falcons, then we'll have to change it. But as of right now, I'm still going to have them at 10-6. And in Cleveland, I have at 10-6. So basically my 1 and 2 changed, but my top 7 in general stayed the same there. And then I have, there's a couple teams I could maybe fight to get in, like Miami at 9-7, or maybe and I upgraded New England to an 8-8 or something like that. So maybe, and the Colts can also be a 9-7. So there's a couple teams that are going to be fighting for it, but those are my top 7 in the AFC. Now for the NFC, I have 1 seed New Orleans. I feel like they're only going to lose 1 more game, which is against the Chiefs. And then 2 seed, I got Seattle at 12-4. I feel like they're only going to lose 1 more game. I feel like I like what I'm seeing for them recently. And they're gonna do well. In my opinion, the schedule favors them nicely. 3rd seed, you got Green Bay. I feel like they're easily now. It's clear now that they're going to win a division and not lose too many more games. 4th, and this one's very interesting. I've changed this all the time. It was Philadelphia, and it was Dallas, and it was Washington. Blah, blah. Now I'm choosing the Giants, despite Daniel Jones being out. And here's why: the Giants beat Washington twice, so they get the tiebreaker there. And then Philly, I feel like Philly can beat Dallas 1 more time to get to 4 wins. Better than that, and they would still probably get the tiebreaker over Philly, even if Philly gets to 5 wins. But the problem is, then they only have 10 losses versus 11 because of that 1 tie that Philly has, which means Philadelphia would only have to have 4 wins, and Giants have 5 wins for the Giants to go on. And I feel like besides Dallas, I don't see Philadelphia winning any more games. So then for Dallas, they'll face Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's team, so they can win that game. Better than that, it's like I don't see them winning that game. So at 5-11, I feel like the Giants can win the division. Go figure. And then six seed. So the fifth seed would be Tampa Bay at 11-5. Because I don't feel like they're going to lose any more games. Sixth seed would be the LA Rams at 10-6, and 7 would be Arizona 10-6. So basically, not much has changed there except for my NFC East winner. And then the playoff scenario: Pittsburgh would roll Cleveland, Tennessee would beat Vegas, and Buffalo would barely beat Baltimore, in my opinion. So the top, so 2, 3, 4 all move on. So then you get one of Kansas City for Buffalo. Kansas City moves on by a couple touchdowns. Pittsburgh, Tennessee. I would actually have Tennessee here for the upset by just 1 point. So you have a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last year in Kansas City and Tennessee, and out of Kansas City winning by 10 points. So then you got Seattle versus 7 Arizona in the wild card rounds. Seattle wins that one, in my opinion, by a touchdown. Then you get Green Bay and the Rams. Very interesting first round. Despite it being cold weather, again, the Rams I know like to run the ball, which Green Bay could struggle with, and then play action off of that. Plus, LA Rams have a very good defense. So I feel like this is actually an upset for the Rams. Have them win by a touchdown. To move on, then the Giants, Bucks. Obviously, Buccaneers are going to win that one. So then you get New Orleans versus Rams, which would be a very good semifinal game. And I feel like this would be the hardest team to face for the Saints. Like, this is the team the Saints want to avoid at all costs, in my opinion. But I'm going to have the Saints survive here by a field goal. And then Seattle Rams, Seattle Buccaneers, I'm going to have the Buccaneers. Sorry about the technological malfunction, but as I said, I'm gonna have Tampa Bay upset Seattle in the divisional round by a field goal. It's gonna be a very high scoring game there. So then you have a Saints and Buccaneers rematch for the third time in the NFC Championship game. And this one could be a little bit closer, but I'm still gonna have Saints win it because they're just dominant over Tampa Bay. Coaching mismatch, quarterback mismatch. Everything's a mismatch at this point, and then for the most part. And then you got the Kansas City Saints Super Bowl, and then Kansas City still win by like a touchdown or so. So those are my updated NFL projections after this week. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel and tell everyone about me. Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful day.